Hello, hello. We're really far behind on Magic spoilers, so this is going to be a marathon video. I might not bother doing absolute predictions for absolutely every card, or even absolutely every rare. Just ones that I feel like I have some sort of hot take on. And at the same time, we're also going to use the Scryfall thing. I wanna do full, because then we'll see like one card at a time. Yeah, this works. This is a pretty good system, I think. Okay. Bond of Passion. You control a target creature until end of turn. On top of that creature gains haste until end of turn. Does 2 damage to any other target. Okay. That's fine, I guess. It's like a little slow. Normally these one-turn grab a creature effects are quite a bit cheaper. I'm not sure. Like, this is, I guess, pretty relevant. This is a bigger board swing. You can really manipulate board states. This is probably fine to pick up unlimited. Why don't we fight over what's right and let the bureaucrats argue over the details? Sure. This is Domari Raid and some man. Is this Domari Raid? I don't know. Bond of Revival. Oh, it's like a cycle. Turn target creature from grave for the battlefield gains haste until their next turn. That's not too bad, really. The gaining haste is pretty relevant for Reanimator combo decks that just want to go off. They're not going to be playing this card because it's 5 mana, of course, but I don't know, some sort of like accelerate into. I'm thinking in standard, of course, but and there's some big boys in standard that you wouldn't mind reviving and then swinging with on the first turn. So, like maybe it's not too common that Reanimator is really seen in standard. But I don't know. Today we throw off the yoke of death. Either this is an affirmation of the eternal, cyclical nature of life, or it's just hilarious. Depends on which of us you ask. So, yes, the Boros and the Gruul logos are like combining here. And this is the Golgari and Rakdos logos combined, I think. Maybe. And here the Dimmer and Izzet combining. I see. Player tops the top 4 cards of the graveyard, lever in the graveyard, 2 insert sorcery cards figure to your hand, exile Bond of Insight. Again, I don't know. I'd like to see this at instant speed, because this is the sort of card that, like, you're playing a deck where you hold up mana through their turn, and then at the end of their turn, if they haven't done anything counterable, or you've successfully bluffed them out of playing something, because it looks like you can counter, then you can play, like, this sort of spell as utility to get gas for your next turn. At sorcery speed, it's a lot worse, because this is a pretty major mana investment, so getting more fuel like this is not necessarily great. You're not going to be able to make like your big plays out of this card. Sure. Unless you remember some. Cute. This is a cute little cycle. Contentious plan, proliferate, draw a card. Oh, okay. Interesting. I think it's sorcery speed again. These sort of utility type cards are so much more interesting if they're at instant speed. It really completely transforms the way that they're able to help you accelerate your deck. Because then you don't really have to choose between holding up mana to play defensively and advancing your stuff. Perfected plan, we had no control of the mortal minds who had to agree to implement it. Interesting. Bond of Flourishing. This is Selesnya and Simic, it looks like. Remove a card from among them, put it in your hand. Okay. Cute. Sure. This is Azeroth or something, and Orzhov? Whatever. Double creatures you can control, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. Not bad. This is like a blowout sort of card. These are all fine, I guess, to pick up kind of later in limited. Senator Nurture, gain 3 life, tap to add 1. It's okay. This I think I could definitely see playing in limited, just because it's kind of like a grindy card. And I feel like this is going to be a pretty grindy, limited environment, just because there's so many planeswalkers, there's so many cards that are kind of like, you know... Oh, snap! Okay. Our what? He's gone from Izzet to Uborg. Um, or Wooburg, I guess is how it's pronounced. Uborg, of course, being the tomb of Yawgmoth. Okay. He's picked up the Avatar subtype, which is always a banger. I think a lot of the Wooburg cards are avatars as well. Flying in the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those cards from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. 6. Okay, so if you have the absolute dream deck where you're playing like all guilds, you're playing all 10 permutations of 2 colors, then this thing draws you 10 cards. That doesn't seem like it's ever going to be feasible because, surprise, surprise, you also need like lands in your deck. You'll also probably need some cards that aren't just 2 colors. I don't see this ever drawing you more than like 5 cards at the absolute max. I think would be like a godly draw off this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. I wish this was something more. It's just like so situational and fiddly. I guess that's kind of in line with his characterization that he's kind of like a schemer and that you would somehow stack the top of your deck in some elaborate way in order to make this good. Like the potential card advantage is pretty nuts. But if you convey this to something like Convoke, where you just are tutoring up cards in each color, no, that's not what that card is called. I'm sorry. Is it called Convoke? Oh, I guess I can just. Well, whatever. Like, okay, here's what we can do. Like, let's look at what other stuff you can get when you're dropping 5 mana. Conflux is the card I was thinking of, but to be fair, that's a 3 mana on top of that. But here you just get those cards for sure, and you get any ones that you want. I don't know. Suppose getting Wooburg isn't actually that crazy. No, I'm just. There's no way, right? There's no way. No way. This is like pretty cool. I could see maybe a really crazy commander deck that just wants to do this. But it's like, in the end, the fact that you're just drawing cards, I wish it was something a little crazier. Like, that something else happens based on the number of cards you get, like immediately, you know? And that the fact that afterwards this is just a vanilla 6/6 flyer. All the other Niv Mizzets are a much more interesting board presence, you know, with all of their trigger deck abilities and such. The art is cool. So I don't know what the heck the plot is anymore. I didn't expect something like this happening. I guess this was like the project he was working on the whole time. He wanted to become some sort of god. Notably, he's not a planeswalker, though. He's still just a legendary creature kind of bound to Ravnica. But, yeah, I don't know. This is... I think he's on Team Good Guys, right? Like, I think he's going to fight Nicole Bolas. I would be shocked if he's like, all right, sweet. I've just become a dragon avatar with the ability to draw up to 10 cards. And I'm going to just bow down to an even bigger, older dragon. No, right? He's gonna fight that guy. All right, anyways. Crazy card. Did not expect this. Firemind Vessel. Had 2 mana of different colors. Ooh, well, that's fun. That's actually not too bad. You get ridiculous amounts of fixing. The fact that it has to be different colors, though, is a little sketchy. There's other mana rocks that, like... well, I don't know. I guess it's like just like a super signet. And correspondingly, it costs 2 more than a... I think it's pretty cool. I could see this going into like Legacy Cube or Vintage Cube or something like that and being a reasonable pickup. City mourn Niv Mizzet's death, but he left behind the components for his rebirth. Okay, so We know that he died because of this card, and then we know that he got reborn because of this card. But we're reading the story in reverse order. I guess that's sort of the downside of this order spoiled. Maybe I can do order spoiled, like reverse. Sorted by name. No. See, it's like a special ordering. Alright, whatever. We can just keep going like this. This isn't so bad. We're just gonna have a fun time trying to figure out the plot. Jace triumph! Jace wins! There's another surprise! Travis is not an outsmarting Bolas' plan, but understanding why the ultimate power is self-defeating. What? Is that the lesson here? That Nicol Bolas is going to be self-defeating somehow? Draw 2 cards if you control Jace. Draw 3 cards instead. I feel like this is probably part of a cycle. Sure. Pledge of Unity. +1/+1 counter on each control. Oh, okay. Alright. This could be decent. Today we must all be heroes. Nice. This is cool art. This is, I think, much less cool art. He's like, yes, I'll just send all of the blue lines at the thing. Yes, I'm a genius. Finale of Promise. Cast up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard each with converted mana cost X or less without paying their mana costs. Oh, so you can play 1 instant and 1 sorcery. Okay, all right. Okay. Card cast this way would be put into a graveyard this turn exile. Instead, if X is 10 or more, copy each of those spells twice. You choose new targets for those copies. All right. None of this matters except for this part. And this part basically just says this is Electro Dominance copies 5 through 8. Targeting at the graveyard anyways, which is where all the cards in Modern are. It's surprising to me that they did this, because I feel like Electro Dominance plus free spells was like not like, it was probably something they anticipated, but it's probably better than they anticipated, because I know that they've like been a little scared of like Hypergenesis decks. I'm sure they're scared of Living End decks. I'm sure they're scared of the idea of decks playing Restore Balance and Ancestral Visions or Lotus Bloom or any of these extremely insane cards just for 2 mana. So the fact that they're like, think about it, man. You Electro Dominance in, I don't know, like Ancestral Visions, and then you Finale of Promise, and you Ancestral Visions again, and you've just drawn 6 cards for 4 mana, spread out however you'd like. This is bonkers. And like, all right, let's look at some free spells. Mana, none. All right, well that has. All right, that didn't work. Converted mana cost. CMC equal to 0. Type line instant or sorcery. Is this gonna work the way I think it is? Yeah, here we go. That'll do it. All right. Yeah, here we go. This is what we want. All right. So Ancestral Vision is a sorcery. I guess they're all mostly sorceries. Yeah, they're all sorceries. I was thinking, you know, if there was like an instant one, you get to do both, which would be bananas. All right. Okay. Electro Dominance begins to dominate. Because the most effective card filtering engines right now in Modern are like Cathartic Reunion, Faithless Looting, Goblin Lore, just bananas cards like that are just dumping as much of your graveyard or as much of your library into the graveyard as possible. Spell Scour, stuff like that, or Mind Scour. So something like this, I think just like makes that deck faster. Like, it's faster than just playing purely Electro Dominance, and then you can just do both. Because I'd say the other linchpin of that deck is that you need at least one of your Electro Dominances alongside one of your Bedonkers cards. I'm saying all these weird words to describe the power of these cards. But like, look at this. You know how broken Balance is? You want to play Balance in Modern? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Interesting. Cool art too. I guess this is Nicole Bolas. I mean, I guess this is, sorry, Niv Mizzet, I think, doing something. Toll of the Invasion. Reveals their card, choose a landmark. Okay, all right. Good hand discard. Pretty unqualified. Only 1 black mana, which is nice. God Eternal Kefnet. So, oh, okay. So these are the gods that Nicole Bolas killed in Kaladesh after they had already become really powerful godlike entities. Now they've been internalized, and they are now zombie gods, which is quite the type line. You reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card, and you may cast the copy. That copy costs 2 less to cast. Whoa, that is fun. All right, I'm 2,000% into this. This is sweet. Yeah, of course, you're building around this. It's kind of a little awkward because to take advantage of this, you need things that are like 3 drops at least. And yet this is sort of the deck where you want a ton of spells and you're just like churning through stuff with cantrips. I would imagine there's like so many shells you could try to put this into. So it's like a little awkward because you draw the card, you play the cheap copy. This copy that card and you may cast that copy is like really weird wording to me. Like, what if you don't cast the copy? Do you keep the copy? I don't know. But this is really cool. This is really, really cool. I would like to see this tried in like Legacy Miracles or something, where you're often manipulating the top card of your deck, and then you're churning out. I don't know. I don't know what the ideal cards to even play with this are. It totally makes you reevaluate like things that are 3 drops, somewhat becoming 1 drops. It's like a whole different. Like even something like this, you know, it's a whole different card if you're playing it for 1. Whenever it dies or is put into exile from the graveyard. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So, what? Is this okay? Is this not kind of like really scary and degenerate that it can't be pathed, it can't be swords? And not only can it not be like properly pathed or swords, but they still get the life gain, and they still get the basic land and stuff, right? So it just turns those cards off completely. Like, this is kind of slow, but it's just slow. It's not like it's actually gone. Nobody's actually gone. And the stats are so pushed. A 4/5 flyer for 4. And it does all of this. All right, this thing is nuts. I love it. The design is crazy. The power level is like very pushed. It could unlock some explosive ideas in all sorts of formats. It's like really hard to imagine. I don't know, man. I want to believe so bad. I have no idea where to even begin. Yeah, this thing seems... They really went for it with this one. It can't even be exiled. It can't even be exiled. All right. Gideon's Company. No, 2's Company. 3's a crowd. This is Gideon's crowd. Anyways. All right. This is kind of funny for some reason to me. They're only loyal to Gideon, I guess. Sure. All right. Like maybe in Soul Sisters or something, at the very top of the curve, this thing gets really big really fast. Maybe. Doubtful though. Doubtful. I think that deck wants to stay too low to the ground. It's better to just play a bunch of smaller creatures. There's some Guild Gates. Nice flavor text, nice art. I like looking at the Guild Gates. All right, ooh, another big boy. God Eternal Ronas. Another zombie guard. Death Touch. Enters the battlefield. Double the power of each other creature you control until the end of turn. Those creatures gain vigilance until the end of turn. Geysers put in the exile. Okay, so all the gods have this thing, this type line. The stats are like okay. They're not as crazy as I thought they might be for a green god. This seems like a little like Winmori to me. There's so many green cards that are like, do you have big creatures? Guess what? They're even bigger. Were you already winning? Guess what? You're winning even bigger. But normally the things that those do is give trample, and that's the key, is they give trample so that you can push through a big attack and actually like break through a cluttered up board state and things like that. Vigilance is nice, because then you still also get like a free swing. But in a situation where you're actually a little bit behind in board state, like it only doubles the power until the end of turn. I don't know. I'm not nowhere near as much as Kefnet am I seeing this one. I don't know who this is for. Like, what's the big swingy green deck that can want this in standard or any other format? Standard is like the most likely because it doesn't compete with overrunning type creatures or Crater Hoof or things like that. Of course, it's a lot cheaper than those creatures, but like you're playing big green, the mana isn't really your concern, you know? If it said trample instead of vigilance, and the fact that it's double as well, whereas normally a lot of these things are like a set boost, or Crater Hoof is based on a number of creatures, which is just nuts, but normally it's like +3/+3 for like an overrun type effect. +3/+3 and trample is your kind of essential overrun. So if you're going super wide, which you kind of want to do because this thing, yeah, you kind of want to do that. Then you probably have a lot of things that go from like 1 power to 2 power. And it's like, wow, I'm shocked. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. Gideon's Battle Cry. Gideon the Oathsworn. So the kind of mixture between, or is this in a Planeswalker deck? Yeah, this is in the Planeswalker. Okay, so that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Is this as well? 268. Yeah, it is. Okay. Because like sometimes they refer to a Planeswalker, sometimes they refer to a specific type of Planeswalker, and sometimes they refer to a specific Planeswalker card. And I feel like that inconsistency is only kind of forgivable if they're doing certain things in the Planeswalker decks and not in the regular set. But blah, 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 blah. This is, of course, his company that we saw earlier. Pretty sure. I don't know. No, maybe they're different guys. This company died. Now he gets this new company. He just keeps going through them. All right. This is fine. No, it's not. It's so much worse than a card we just saw earlier. This one. All right. Desperate Lunge. Sure. This is Gideon jumping at Bolas with the Black Blade. Feels like it didn't work. I would think. I'd be surprised if this is how it actually ends, that Gideon just slices him in half. But maybe, I guess that'd be kind of badass. So here's the Planeswalker deck, Gideon. Even though it's a mythic, it has only 2 abilities. That's interesting. There 2 more now. Gideon creatures +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. Turns into a guy. That's his shtick. Exile him and each creature, so you like Plague Wind, kind of. Okay. I don't see this being very good, but it's not surprising because the Planeswalker deck won. Tamiyo's Epiphany. Scry 4, then draw 2 cards. Scry 4. Holy. So here she's hanging out with that god. That's kind of cool. This is like an interesting little mashup of flavor. I think Tamiyo is one of the most interesting characters to me. The idea that she just came to observe the war is like really cool to me too. She just wants to write down what happens, but soon realized neutrality was not an option. She sounds like a major American ISP. Ha 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 ha. Okay, that's fine. All right, here she is. Spells and abilities your opponent's control can't cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents. Okay, that's cool. That's like the one Innistrad Angel. Can't think of her name. The green-white one. is something similar to that. It's a non-glide card name. Top 4 cards of your library. Put our cards that shows name to the hand. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can just say like island or something and get some good card advantage. You play with bananas things like Scry 4 or Brainstorm. You're just getting cards back. The fact that the other ones go into your graveyard is pretty sweet too. Yeah, this thing seems pretty nice, this ability. And then this too, you know, is a nice like kind of synergy with the first ability. You can just get stuff back. Yeah, I kind of like this thing. This thing is like this is so nice. This actually shuts down the primary disruption game plan of a lot of decks. It's a little slow to be protecting you from like Kozilek's Inquisition and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's too slow. Maybe it's too slow. It's a nice little card advantage engine though. Nice. I hope it's good. Being in Simic is a little awkward. I'm not sure. I think this would be much happier in blue-white. I didn't even know that Tamiyo was green at all. I thought she was like blue-white, so this surprises me even more, but whatever. She looks cool. I think she's such a cool character. Anyways, I don't know. I think it could be pretty good. Ooh, okay, Bantu, the big croc god. Menace enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards. Ooh, ooh. That's actually pretty cool. Just completely... There's like situations where this is the top of your curve, and you're totally fine just like sacking all your lands. Or not all your lands, but a lot of your lands. It's good with token decks, but actually not that good with a mass, which is a little bit of a disappointing non-bow, because a mass is just one permanent, of course. It's pretty cool. I think that's a really exciting ability, but I'm actually having a hard time imagining it being ever that crazy. It is nice though that it can really help dig you out of a hole. Like when you're playing to your outs, when you're in a pretty desperate situation, this is often going to be the most helpful way you can possibly draw the cards that'll actually win you the game. You just drop this and wipe your board because it's probably going to get wiped anyways. I don't know. I think this ability would be so much cooler on like an instant that you could do in response to board wipes and stuff and just be like, ha ha ha, guess what? I'm just drawing cards instead of you killing stuff. I don't know. It's very cool. I think this is like more commander-based though. Just for EDH, I suppose. But very cool. Yeah, I'll be surprised if this shows up. I don't know. I just can't see it happening. Because like the scenario that I'm talking about, where you're like, I'm so desperate, I just want to draw as many cards as possible and hope that I can see the thing that might lead me to victory. It's like you might as well just put more win con type cards in your deck rather than needing this guy. I'm glad that it's like pushed though. You know, the stats are pushed. Menace is a nice ability. They made it as good as it could be. It's just like whether or not this is actually a powerful ability remains to be seen. This is kind of cool too because you get to do it like multiple times. But again, maybe a deck where you're like recurring a lot of stuff from the graveyard, and then you're also looping this. But then this ability actually becomes like really bad because you can't just recur it with whatever graveyard recurring method you're using. I don't know. 4 damage to target creature and you gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. If it's the top 4 cards of the library into your graveyard, amass 4. 4, 4, 4, because 4 gods showed up. That all makes sense. The red god, Hazaret, is like not into it. It's kind of like a similar situation to like Urabask, which which I think is really cool flavor-wise. I think it really brings home some of the lesser seen qualities of red, like that it's like very true to itself and very like passionate. It's like kind of the revolutionary color and stuff. It's not just like big dumb blow up stuff, you know. It's about um, like actually like not submitting, like not in the way that black doesn't submit, you know, where black is totally willing to go along with a higher power if it's self-serving, but red is just completely inherently against. Anyways, anyway, you understand color pie philosophy. If you're the type of person to watch a 30-minute video where I'm just talking about new magic cards, you probably know what I mean. So yeah, both Hazaret and Urabesk in their respective stories like refuse to kind of submit and are these like little outlier type elites in their society. Anyways, not that these guys submitted, I guess. I guess they were just like killed and zombified, but Hazaret wouldn't even do that. All right, okay, all right. This card is fine. Spark double. Copy of creature or a planeswalker you control. Creature enters with additional planeswalker and isn't legendary if that permanent is legendary. All right, sure, of course, because you can't. Yeah. Pretty cool. It can duplicate legendary creatures and stuff too, which is neat. Does this go infinite with Kiki-Jiki then? You just make infinite Kiki-Jikis, right? You can, right? I don't know. Yeah, this seems like pretty pushed. The fact that it can copy planeswalkers is really cool. In some sort of hypothetical Super Friends deck, maybe I can see it working out. Maybe in some big planeswalker deck, maybe it's infinite combo. Those are the only situations I can see it being useful because there's much cheaper cloning effects for any of the other decks that are interested in cloning their creatures. But in some sort of weird combo, taking advantage of it not being legendary, something like that, maybe. Ooh, a vehicle, a sub, and it's just it's Smuggler's Copter. Excuse me. They did not learn from their mistake. Now they're making Smuggler's Sub. It's blue mana, which is interesting. It's a rare colored artifact that they just... Oh, I guess there was Nicol Bolas' Citadel too. I guess there's maybe a little colored artifact mini cycle thing going on here. It's much worse than Smuggler's Copter, that's for sure. But you know what? I'm gonna say this will show up a lot in Standard. The more I think about it, the more it's like this can't be bad though. Just like card advantage, something that kind of, well, the fact that it's crew 2, power 2. I don't know. I think it's gonna show up in Standard. Dreadhorde Twins. You have zombie, trample, zombie. Okay. Living Twister. Ooh, fun. That's a lot of fun. There's already cards that are like this, but like a lot better because they don't involve spending mana to do this. But this is kind of nice for synergy. Basically, you're just wanting to close out with this like as quickly as possible. It's pretty cool. I really like it. Nah, I just there's decks like this with like Countryside Crusher and the like card with the art where the rocks are falling. And I feel like those are just better than this. But it's fun. Maybe in Standard, maybe it's enough that in Standard you can play a deck like this, but I kind of doubt it. Ilharg the Raise Boar. Ooh, a Boar God. So I guess this completes the God cycle. This is like the god of the Gruul, I guess, that they're they're summoning and they're getting out there to fight against the God Eternals, I'm guessing. Creature card from your hand to battle. Whoa, okay. Alright, that's fun. That's pretty fun. And this is nice too. It still has this protection ability, even though it's not a zombie god. I'd like to know the lore going on here. This is quite an interesting guy for them to just pull out of the woods all of a sudden. All right, so it's like kind of slow. It has to come down tapped and attacking. That's not so bad. All right, here's a question. You use this, you drop down Emrakul. Do you still get the Annihilator trigger? I don't think you do. I think you have to attack with the creature to get the Annihilator trigger. I think it coming down tapped and attacking means that it doesn't annihilate, which is very unfortunate. But Griselbrand, something like that, of course, is still great. You can still draw your cards, still get your lifelink, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's too slow for any sort of sneak attack deck. Holy hell is it pushed, though. Look at these stats. And more and more I'm thinking, like, maybe there is actually just a big dude green-red deck. You play this, and maybe you play this, and then you play, like, the 16/16 worm or something. Maybe. Please let there be a big green-red standard deck for my land. Otherwise, this is like for EDH players. Nissa, who shakes the world. Every type of force from mana add an additional green. Ooh. Ooh. Target another creature land. Okay. Ooh. So she's just super ramp. Super ramp and then beat you with lands. The fact that they get vigilance, of course, is awesome. The lands stay 3/3 creature. This is pretty pushed, I think. Like this ability is bananas too. So you can ramp quite quickly to 3. You get this. I would like to see this deck. I would really like to see this deck. I don't know what the heck it would be exactly. Like really land-based ramp. Maybe stuff like Sakura Tribe Elder. If you're trying to do a legacy version, it'd just be like mono green land beats. Because being able to pull all the lands out of your deck and then just be running on straight gas from that point onwards is pretty sweet. So maybe it's because then though your cards that you're ramping into Nissa with become kind of dead. Could this be a deck or not? I want to believe. Let me see mono green land beats. Modern. Is this somehow like it helps with Scape Shift or something? Because okay, part of it is that I'm thinking that it's feasible to alt, right? Which to me doesn't seem that unlikely because you're playing a ton of big dudes right around this point. As soon as you plus her, you get a lot of kind of board presence. You're probably weak against like flyers, but you know, we'll sort that out. Probably in Modern right now, it's actually just so way too slow, and Phoenixes will just peck her to death, like the production line Evas in End of Evangelion. I don't know why I just thought of that image so quickly, yeah, I think it's too slow right now. But who knows? It's like really tough to talk about Modern because after this comes Modern Horizons. And Modern Horizons, like, who knows what the hell is going to happen in that set. Nissa's Triumph. Get 2 forests, 3 land cards. Put them to your hand, shuffle your library. Yes, alright. If you already have your Nissa Planeswalker, though, do you really need to ramp more? Because you're basically at 10, probably, at that point. Or something like it. But I don't know. Alright, sure. Crunch Wrangler. Okay. Okay. Raging Crunch. So this is the thing he's wrangling. Can't attack alone. Cute. So you bring along its buddy. Power 4 greater. I like it. And 2 commons, a little story. There you can see Crotch Wrangler. That's nice. You know, for the big story moments, of course, they want them on big, flashy, rare, and mythic cards, but Magic's ability to tell a story in just 2 commons so that even the most novice player buying their first pack is likely to see some connections between the cards is really something to appreciate. Chain Whip Cyclops. All right. Smash happened, that Rubble Belt. Rubble Belt's State of Mind. He's a Cyclops philosopher. That's very funny. Where Smash happened? That can be anywhere. That's the primary thing of my life. Is that Smash can happen anytime, anywhere. All right, sure. Oh, there's so many feral beasts. This is the funny thing about Ravnica, that they somehow got away with this. That it's not only the city plane, but using the fact that the juxtaposition is like interesting and hilarious, it's also the big dude's plane. That you have people like Borygamos, the stomach rumbling sound, and you have the giganticest worms in all of Magic, and the boar god and stuff like this, all just crawling out of the wormwork. I like that. I like that. I think that's very clever that they thought of that. That it shouldn't all just be city. That they should show that the city is like just on the edge of falling into something that's completely different. Ooh, here's Domri, the Anarch of Bolas. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. That's fine. Comes down. It's sort of removal, sort of ramp, and it's acceleration. So I think this is fine. Fine. Will be an aforementioned big green red deck close. If this deck exists, I can see this being handy, you know? It ramps you from 3 to 4. It helps you fight through control decks, which is nice. So accelerate a little bit, and then this is like really, really nice removal to have in that sort of deck. And the fact that it's like unconditional, you don't need splash colors for it. Tap target permanent, if it's an artifact, destroy it. Okay. They knock down a statue. These gigantic, this looks like the Selesnya elementals that they can make. All right. Martyr for the cause. When it dies, proliferate. Cool. No more worthy fight than this. Sure. It's kind of funny that he's proliferating, which I associate with Phyrexia, which I associate with like... Actually, Phyrexia and Selesnya are actually, they're not that different in some ways. They're all about like collectives and submitting to a greater cause, and the dryads that are becoming like the one entity and stuff. Anyways, but then there's also what was the Selesnya mechanic where you got more tokens? I don't know. It's just funny that he's proliferating instead of doing that. Domri's ambush. Surprise! Okay. I'll be there to kick it the rest of the way. Awakening of the Vitu-Ghazi. 9+1/+1 counters on target lane you control. Ooh, okay, cool, cool. Ghazi advanced on them. I like that. That's clever flavor. It's a pretty badass moment, and you get a 9/9 land. That's hype. The fact that it's an instant is actually pretty sweet. This becomes like one hell of a combat trick. It's a lot of power for 5 mana. I don't know, man. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling it in my hypothetical big rule deck, which I'd really like to see. Play this. Play this. You have like 18 damage. It's for my big Gruul standard deck. The problem is, like, where's the ramp? But I've said before that I kind of think maybe the standard environment is actually going to slow down a little. So maybe you don't actually need that much ramp, or like maybe the kind of higher curve ramp that we've been seeing is fine. I don't know. Chandra's triumph, everybody's triumphing. Her big plan is just to light people on fire. There's Damari Raid. No, Donovan Van, or whatever the guy's name is. He's just on fire. Brilliant. Now from achieving a ideal self for projecting. Okay, all right. Just set them on fire. That was the plan from the start. All right. Ooh, new Karn. Oh yes, my friend told me about this. That new Karn is like a one-sided null rod, and that he had just miraculously bought up a bunch of Microsynth lattices, probably for some stupid-ass combo deck that he's picturing in his head beforehand. And now Microsynth Lattice plus this has become a combo deck for sure. Maybe not a stupid combo deck, though. I mean, it's a 4 and a 6. That's pretty expensive, but the effect is that all of your opponent's cards stop working. All of their lands stop tapping for mana. That's bananas. That's so bananas. Yeah, this card seems nuts to me. One-sided Null Rod is like, what? Like, one-sided Stony Silence? Like, I don't see how this is allowed. On a colorless card, so it's the problem with like a lot of these artifact decks is that they can't really pack artifact hate because a lot of artifact hate is symmetrical. Not anymore. Or they would have to pack artifact destruction, which is usually pretty colored. But not anymore. So now the mirror matches could just be like trying to get this guy down first. Even if this is the only line of text on the card, I would still be extremely interested for 4 mana. Of course, the fact that it's Planeswalker does make it a little easier to remove than if it was just an enchantment or something, but I don't know, we'll see. All right, he turns an artifact into a creature. That's like his shtick. And whoa, what? What? That can't possibly be okay. You just get to wish for an artifact? Or you get to... Oh my lord. What the hell? You know what you can do with this? You can suspend Lotus Bloom. And then you can just put it back in your hand. Oh my god, this is so cool. This is like crazy. I can't believe that they're doing this. So as a hate card, I'm going to be surprised if this isn't run as a hate card against artifact decks by artifact decks, becoming like the primary source of artifact on artifact crime. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, sorry, even if non-artifact decks that just pack, like, I don't know, you just play this and like a couple things in the sideboard, you know? It's the fact that it can tutor twice before dying just from coming down. And then you have all of these like bullet cards in your sideboard. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm feeling it. What the heck? How is this okay? The super hate card and also the main engine of some deck you can't imagine. Like, I'm picturing some deck. It's just like all artifacts. You have a ton of like silver bullet type artifacts in your sideboard. You're playing this thing ASAP. You're turning your mana rocks into guys and fighting with them. You're pulling out whatever artifacts you need to answer whatever. You have Microsynth Lattice later to completely shut them out of the game. And then you can just swing with your Microsynth Lattice too. You can just hit them with Lattice beats. Oh baby, oh yeah. Like when my friend told me this, I was like, what? That's crazy. But I didn't know like this. I didn't know this. I didn't know this or this. Like this is all great stuff. Yeah, this is damn. Man, every Karn, they like I'm impressed. Every Karn Planeswalker, they went in a completely different direction. And they pushed far in that direction to make cards that I feel like they're all going to see a lot of play in totally different situations. Yeah, I'm super impressed. This thing's awesome. Visor of the Scorpion. Okay. That's kind of neat. But again, Amass only gives you one creature. Like this, you actually want to play more in like a different type of zombie deck where you're just amassing. you're assembling a big army, a big wide army. Jaya's greeting. It's so cute. Blam. Additional Carol, keep welcome. Blam. All right, this is okay. This is actually pretty okay. This is like a little more push than I thought a burn spell would be. It's not like super great, but and the fact that it's only target creature, I didn't think about that at first. Okay. Here's our new Jaya. She's an uncommon, the most legendary pyromancer in all of Magic lore. The inspiration for Chandra, who in turn was the inspiration for Young Pyromancer, who's the actual most powerful gameplay-wise pyromancer in Magic lore. Down to an uncommon who shows up and does one thing. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling these uncommon planeswalkers. I just think it's kind of a goofy idea. I don't know. Like, I can see why they did it. Like, it all kind of makes sense, but it just seems too insulting to these characters and kind of too misleading to be like, everyone is here, 36 planeswalkers, but surprise, all of the things that make planeswalkers really interesting, i.e. choosing between 3 abilities each turn, is not really there. And instead it's just kind of a strange enchantment thing. Deals that much damage plus 1 to that permanent player instead. That's okay, that's not really too important. Like, you're not, the decks that really care about that are trying to burn you out, are not playing a 5-drop planeswalker. Sorry, Grandma. Sorry, Fire Grandma. I'm as sad as you are. Yeah, I just don't think this is there. Law Rune Enforcer. Okay. Alright, sure. There's the new Davin. He's also just an uncommon. This is kind of neat. It's pretty mean, pretty bully. This is actually pretty nice defense too. It's not just to him, which these Planeswalker abilities usually are, but just in general. So yeah, you can lock somebody out of the game like pretty hard if they're just trying to beat down with one big threat. This is like big stall. This slows them down too. For only 3 mana, 5 loyalty. Yeah, you know what? I think this is pretty strong. Good. Card, control, and modern. So what I'm thinking is like, this kind of beats up Scape Shift. This kind of beats up Omelet Titan. This kind of beats up all the like through the breach type decks. Kind of boggles. It just slows stuff down. Slow. Maybe. Healy Silverwing. Sure. It's eating Thopters. It's pretty cute. There's Saheeli herself. Creature spell, get a servo. Becomes a copy of target. Ooh. Alright, so that's pretty sweet. You get 2 Blight Steals for the price of 1, basically. or anything like that. The problem is that this isn't really getting you where you want to go with those big clonable artifacts. I guess one thing is like you can play a Mana Rock, make your servo copy the Mana Rock, then you've accelerated a bit, and then you're more likely to get out the big artifacts that you really want to copy. Or creature. Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's a really neat flavor, too, that she's just turning these Thopters into literally anything. Anything that she sees. I kind of like it, but I don't really know what it does. Like, where it goes. Very cool, though. Very cool. I think the art is really nice, too. I don't know where this would be played, but it's neat, and I want to see it. Not a very bold prediction, but it's something. Here's our new Chandra. She deals that much damage to target planet. Ooh. 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 Okay. So at the very least, she's dealing 4 damage when she comes down. And probably even more. This is pretty nice. This is a good card advantage. This is pretty bananas, but I don't think that matters so much necessarily. But this also does 7 damage to any target. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of neat. It gives you pretty good utility. There's not like a deck that doesn't want to do this. This sort of like protection of herself that, or planes. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. I like it. But where does it show up? Because like normally the red decks that are playing this want something a little more explosive from their 4-drop slots. This kind of is just like an engine to get you through to the late game, but you don't really want to be playing a late game in those decks. You just want to win. So I like it, but I don't know. Value past turn mode. I don't know. Maybe. Chandra's Pyrohelix. Not her Phoenix, but her Pyrohelix. Okay. Yeah, that's alright. Ral's Outburst. 3 names starting target. Graveyard. Alright. Sure. He's gonna melt the Lazotep. Sure. Bolt Bend. 3 less to cast if control creature part 4 greater. Ooh, alright, that's kind of fun. Some things you don't. Yeah, that's alright. You get to protect your big threat and then make them eat their own removal. That sort of thing. It's fun. There's the new Ral. That's good. Cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. So this is like Storm plus Storm. And then you Storm, and then this helps you get to Storm. But it's too slow for Storm. I'm sure that it is. Even if you're casting your rituals and stuff to get this guy out fast, he doesn't speed you up anymore after that. I guess it means that the total number of spells you need to cast in order to gut shot to kill them is like halved. But I don't know. I guess it does speed up Storm a little bit. But at what cost? At 4 cost. That's what cost. That's too much cost. Yeah, I think it's too slow. You're too slow. It's funny though that they keep, despite Storm literally being the Storm scale, like being the standard bearer for mechanics that they're not going to touch again for the 10-foot pole, they're sure flirting with Storm a lot. They're sure doing things that are like, well, maybe Storm wants it, but I don't think your Storm actually wants it. Maybe there's like a standard deck with this and 1000-year Storm, and it's like a longer, grindier Storm thing. Maybe, but like less certainly. It's the Parhelion 2. It's a V. What am I looking at here? What is moving? What the? Does this have like jets on the bottom? What the hell? This thing is crazy. Create 2? Permanently you just create 2? Alright, this thing is bananas. It's like they took the keyword spam big white flyer thing and they turned it into a vehicle. And they also gave it this, which is crazy, that you just get a bonus 8 power coming at them. Oh, lordy. But isn't enough. For 8 mana, you get all of this. Crew 4. Nah, I don't think so. For kitchen tables only. I just don't see a white deck that wants to like curve out on a conditional creature that if you're not already in pretty good shape, just like sits there and does nothing, you know? Yeah, I don't think so. Ooh, alright, so this is the other new Planeswalker, who again only gets an uncommon for her debut card, which I just... this is a nice ability. This is like Great Glass Spinner ability. Making a wizard token is kind of fun too. There's a lot of like wizard little tribal synergies and stuff out there. Which of course this is nice also with because you're trying to keep those dudes alive. Yeah, I think this is really fun. Good. Whoop, I forgot to write her name. Nina. Good for casual wizards decks only. But I'd like to see those decks. I think that would make those decks even more fun and exciting. So, you know, maybe. Who the heck is she? Why is she here? Where is she from? All of these questions and more, I assume, will be answered at some point, but I'm not going to speculate right now. Creatures you control get flying. Oh, with flying. Okay. No, when I thought they gave flying, I was like, this thing seems kind of nuts, but no, never mind. So the Eternals clash with a squadron of angels. Let's see. Yes, transmutation. So this is like what she's up to. It turns a zombie into a frog. Cute. This is nice little removal in blue. It's a good way to get rid of those gods for sure. Feather the Redeemed. Ooh, so this is like a story character that's been talked about quite a bit. Who's like a big important angel in Boros. Whenever you cast a incident expression, okay, so you get to just recur all of your boosting stuff. I guess that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's pretty pushed. The stats 3, 4, 5 for 3, and then this sort of deck, like you just get guys in the air, and then you just keep pumping them, pumping them, pumping them. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Is that a deck? I don't think that's a deck. It's like, now I gotta go back and think about all the random commons that did stuff like this that I didn't really think about. Like this notably will not recur because it's not target. Oh, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is what we've come to. I don't know. It really depends. It depends on what kind of cards are like this in Standard, and if there's any ones that are so good that playing them every turn is that sweet. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. Like I just don't pay attention to those sorts of cards very often. Normally they're not really what's doing stuff. Oh, this is like Wave of Reckoning. This is an old card. And this was notably 5 CMC. So this is nice, a little cheaper. Permanent weapon is nothing more than light. Shows them what they are, and they burn of it of their own accord. So this is the big Pantheon 2, Parhelion 2, their little spaceship thing. All right, neat. I'm glad this exists. I don't think it's that good though. I don't think it's ever really been that good. I know back when this came out, there was like niches for it because like Saproling decks were around, and a lot of the Rebel decks all had symmetrical power and toughness. So you drop this, surprise. But now I think it's just too conditional. There's too many creatures that are like, all right, whatever. Didn't hurt. Ooh, forest. Ooh, mountain. Ooh, island. Swamp. A plains. A tunnel work. Ogre. Okay. That's funny flavor text. Catapult. Okay. Alright. Sure. Alright. You can use it over and over again with Feather, but I don't know. That is a really cool ability, though, by the way. Even though I'm not entirely sure it's good, I think it's very, very cool, and I'm excited to see if it actually has any, powerful synergies. Sure. Zombie Bird Warrior. Forced Landing. Ooh, that's quite interesting. This is, again, even more ways of doing removal that get around the fact that now creatures even shrug off exile with a little vacation into the library. Sure. Demolish. Sure. Ooh, alright. Roll a Sec Apex Hybrid. Human Mutant. Flying Trample. Enters the battlefield. 2+1/+1 counters on other target creatures you control. Proliferate, then proliferate again. I love stuff like this. Just so much potential and just such an easy to grasp line. This thing is neat. I think it's like a little too slow. The death trigger is kind of nice. Proliferate and then proliferate again. The like weird case where Infect is like a much slower deck. If there was like grindy slow Infect, this would be kind of neat. This would be like the big closeout card for sure, but I'm not really seeing it. I don't know. I doubt it. I think it's too slow. It's a little too slow, a little too clunky. All of its big upsides are a little dependent. It doesn't really bring you back that well because you need another creature, you need stuff that you want to proliferate. Yeah, I don't know. Eternal Skylord. Sure. Sunblade Angel. Sure. A Sheathing Blades made of Molten Dawn. Damn. So this is the most keyword spammy card I've seen on an uncommon, which is kind of neat. This is like all the things that an angel does just by default, I guess. Sure. It's an exciting card. Okay, alright, this is kind of neat. No more double blocking. Of course, with Trample Synergy, that's pretty nice. It's pretty pushed for 5 mana. The very few pleasure. He just wants to fight, guys. Look at him rip that zombie in half. Aid the Fallen. Okay. This is pretty good value. You get 2 cards. This flavor text is pretty funny. Alright. Evolution Sage. Ooh. Now that's interesting. So I'm still thinking about that deck that uses Flux Channeler. Use Flux Channeler and this and a lot of fetches, and then those like Everflowing Chalice and Cornucopia of the whatever. And then you ramp, and then something else happens. At that point, you just probably hard casting an Emrakul or something. Maybe. This seems pretty strong, and it's pretty cheap. I want to really see this deck. Simic, Flux Channeler, Evolution Sage, maybe even this guy? You just throw them all together. With Flux Channeler becomes very interesting. And the Everflowing Chalice Cornucopia. So I like that. Oof. 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 Okay, all right. This actually like it's like a one card win con in some decks. I think they already have win cons though. This one is probably a little too slow, but it's interesting. The flavor text is funny. Blind Blast. All right. Sure. It's funny flavor text too. Goblin Assailant. Assailant. It's just a vanilla. Goblin Assault Team. That's fun. Run screaming at the enemy and hit a bunch of stuff. Nice. Loxodon Sergeant. Big Elephant Man. Sure. Defiant Strike. Oh yeah, I was like, that sounds familiar. There's some cons. Sure. You can recur this with Feather, but only once per turn. Otherwise, this would actually be kind of nuts that you keep getting cards. Keep pumping. Courage and Crisis. Sure. Band together. We already saw a bunch of people banding together. These are just some random schmoes banding together, though. It's not some big inter-guild alliance. Okay. Sure. 10th District Legionnaire. Ooh, okay, alright, sure. There's more like synergy with the Feather scheme. This is like the other creatures that you would run, maybe. The stats are pretty nice. Scrying a bunch is nice. Yeah, I don't know. Alright. I'm a little more and more I'm interested in this Feather deck. But I'm not convinced yet. And having a deck that it has like a Linchpin Engine card that's legendary is so unfortunate too. Because you're hopefully just kind of churning through a lot of your deck and getting all of your kind of cards that are fueling this engine, but then other copies you draw of the engine are just dead cards entirely, which is a shame. Okay. That's pretty pushed. Neoform. Ooh. So it's just a one-time birthing pod. Okay, so birthing pod is back in the form of the Simic person from last set. So would they want to do this? Would they want to do a one-time pod to pod up to her and then pod off the rest of your cards and get your combo and bada bing, bada boom? I kind of think maybe, right? This makes the deck a little more consistent. It's a card that's like always kind of useful. Like even when you have your combo assembled, it isn't like a super dead card because you just cast it and the combo continues, you know, right? Like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm saying shows up in the Neopod deck. Now that deck is not like top tier or anything in Modern. It's definitely too slow, but I think it's solidly like tier 2 or maybe tier 3. And this will just make it a little more solid. I don't think it's actually going to push it into like the metagame properly or anything, but that's cool. I like that deck, so I'm happy to see it get a new tool. Pollenbright Druid. Choose one, +1/+1 or proliferate. Sure. I don't think this is good enough for this proliferate deck that I keep talking about. I think it's a little too slow. But, or I don't know. You already have your chalices and your cornucopias down. You play this, and then it ramps you, like, actually quite a bit. Bloom Hulk. This is definitely too slow for that deck, though. You don't really need to be doing stuff like this. You'd rather just be going nuts with your Flux Channeler and your Evolution Sage. Sure. Iron Bully. Where'd you come from? Lethal Lava Land? 1/1/1 down entire creature. Okay. That's pretty fun flavor text. He's like deploying all of these bizarre Rakdos creations. Okay. Mobilize districts. 3/3 citizen. Ooh. Now that's fun. That's quite fun. Could this see play in a Super Friends deck as like a defensive creature, as a kind of another win con that you just get beats with that? I don't know. In those sort of decks, just having a land that only adds colorless is pretty bad. This is a really nice flavor text. That's very cute. I really like that. I like this card a lot, but I'm not. I like this a lot. I don't know where I'll ever show up. No. Massacre Girl. This is another card that people wanted to see a lot. She's been referenced on a lot of flavor texts. There's a battlefield. Each other creature gets -1/-1 until end turn. Another creature ends this turn. Each other creature. Whoa. So, what this happens is if they have like a curve of toughness, just everything dies. If they have like a 1 toughness creature, a 2 toughness creature, etc., or if you do, if anyone is able to continue that chain, just everything dies. Everything dies. That's pretty funny to me. I'm pretty sure that's the intended behavior too. It's just kind of explained in an exciting way, or in a simple way that has this exciting result. Yeah, I like this thing. It's too bad she doesn't have haste or something, because this is sort of like irrelevant to her. This is like assuming that you are doing other fighting and combat and stuff on the turn that you're playing her, which is a pretty safe assumption, but it just doesn't seem to like fit with the character. Like it feels like she wants to go out and start fighting these weekend dudes, but whatever. The synergy between Massacre Worm and Massacre Girl and the fact that they're all about these -1 things is pretty fun. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is fantastic. The chaining of death. And I think that situation isn't too uncommon. You know, you're playing against somebody that is kind of operating on a curve. All sorts of stuff like Bob and Young Pyromancer and things like that just die. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is like maybe a sideboard card. I don't know what deck really wants it. Maybe like a deck that's playing like Gurmag Ungler and Tasigur and stuff like that, because then your guys are very, very unlikely to die from it. You have big beefy dudes, and this is like at the top of your curve, and you just kind of ignore all of their weenie type creatures until this comes down and just mows through them. Yeah, I don't know, I like it. The art's pretty scary. The character design is, I hope, lives up to what people were hoping for. Alright, cool. Tolmec, Distinguished Advocist. That's like a lawyer, I'm pretty sure. Lands on the battlefield, lands because the opponent can't. So this is like it shuts down Life from the Loam. It shuts down crop rotation. It shuts down Vesuvius and Thespian Stage, right? Yeah, this is like pretty sweet, I think. This like really messes up all of the like kind of land combo decks. This is one of the few cards I can think of that's like very specific hate to those sorts of synergies too. They're always like hesitant to print those because you know things like Blood Moon encapsulate the sort of hate that needs that you need to hate lands, and they don't really want to go too much further in that direction because it also just hurts mana bases in general. You know what I mean? Whereas this specifically is hurting land combo decks, which is, ooh, wow, ooh. Are they such a problem that they're worried about it? I guess so. I mean, lands has always been like a pretty... So, okay, so this goes into Hate Bears as a very situational sideboard card against lands. Is it good enough to do that? The fact that it's a 2/3 flyer, too, is like pretty nice. Because I think a lot of those land decks play like Moat and stuff. Things like that. Just be like, haha. Cool sideboard stack lands. It also kind of funnily hurts Dredge, not just with Life of the Loam, but with the dredging land, because you can't dredge that land anymore. I'm pretty sure, because it would no. You can still dredge the land, but you can't Life from the Loam because Life from the Loam needs you to target lands in your graveyard. But you can still, I guess you can still dredge Life from the Loam. You just can't target anything with it. It just fizzles as soon as you cast it. But you can still dredge it out of your graveyard, I guess. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, you can still dredge it. Yeah, so maybe that's not a big deal. But Loam is also like a tool that the land combo decks use to generate card advantage and to do stuff like that. Like the, yeah, you know what's up. All right, okay. Merfolk Skydiver, sure. Mizium Tank, another colored vehicle. Ooh, so you don't even need to crew it. The crew is 1 anyways. 3/2 trample for 3. I don't know. It's pretty cheap. It's nice that it slots nicely into like the Phoenix decks and stuff like that, without really needing to change your game plan. But it doesn't require the graveyard at all. And one of the nice things about those Phoenix decks, or one of the really nasty things about those Phoenix decks, is that they're perfectly happy just curving into Phoenix and starting to play Phoenixes from their hands if you've shut down the graveyard with like Rest in Peace and stuff. That's part of the reason that makes them so resilient. Something like this too, it's pretty resilient. My understanding is that this stacks, right? Like you just keep getting +1/+1/+1/+1. So it can get pretty big. And it has trample, which is really nice. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling this. I'm going to say worth a try in Phoenix et al. At least. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being decent in those decks. It dodges a bit of removal too, because it's going to be mostly an artifact on their turns, and they're going to bring in like their graveyard hate and their creature hate. They might not bring in artifact hate, so the chances they get to destroy it are whittled down significantly. Sure, stealth mission, cool. In the feather deck, maybe in the feather deck. We don't know. We'll definitely hurt them. They're very pithy with the flavor text in this set. I'm noticing a lot of little things that they're doing with the intention that this set will be played by a much wider audience than other sets. It's like a little, like, I'm impressed. You know, they're just pushing a little further, I think, than they would in a lot of directions. Like with the excitement level and the power level of commons going up, with like these flavor texts that are like a little more. I haven't seen too many flavor texts that are just like pure flavor. It's always just like something exciting happening or like a quip, you know? It's basically like a Marvel movie. Yeah, I don't know. Grateful Apparition. Ooh, okay. That's actually not bad. But I think the Proliferate deck is not in these colors, and is it too slow for it anyways? Okay, that's kind of cool. This is like very helpful. Show me Azura's signature. Sure. This is more of Gideon's dudes. Oh, but they're teamed up. Look at this 3-way team up. Dimir and Golgari or no, this is Simic and Gideon Boros. Sure. Devouring Hellion. Alright, sure. Oh, Crisis of Hellion can't make worse. Neat. But all the problems I had with the draw cards and sack thing, same here. Word Scale Crocodile. Sure. That's the Trial of Ravnica. Big Croco Man coming to eat you. Here's a big worm. That's a big worm. Fundamentally bite-sized. So did Nicole Bolas like not anticipate this? Because Don Van was a little surprised that there was worms this big. Oh, this is a reprint. All right. See here, the flavor text here. Oops, well you can't quite see it. Flavor text here is a good example. It's like more just sort of like fantasy, making it sound exciting. It's like a little bit of like a twist, but it's not like kind of like a quip twist, you know? Whereas here, this is like, you know, it ends in like a joke. But I like it. I like it. I like both flavor texts. Sure. I think we've seen this already, which is good because I've been talking about magic cards for like an hour and a half now. Yeah, we've seen this. We've seen this. We've seen this. All right, we're caught up. We're caught up. At last, we are caught up. At last, we're caught up. Okay. So I don't know how much of the set is left to be spoiled. I think we're kind of getting close to the end. Oh, 205, and there's 264 cards, so we're getting there, we're getting there. And actually, no, it's a little less than that because there's Planeswalker cards in here too. Like Planeswalker deck cards, so I would imagine there's like maybe 60 cards left to see. So we're getting there. Maybe at the end, we'll go back through my predictions and try to make something a little more concrete. Instead of just like, nope, or meow. But like, I don't know, the top 10 cards I'm most likely expecting to see in whatever formats, something like that, I think could be fun. And then we can also look back at the predictions I made about the set overall and my feelings on the set and stuff. I'd like to do all of this. But we'll see. We'll see what actually happens. Okay, bye-bye for now.